and welcome to another episode in our event management series. I cannot beat this horse enough. I'm sorry to use that phrase, beat this horse into glue, riding a dead horse. Never saddle a dead horse, by the way, which is a rigging statement as well as a Western phrase. But more importantly, I want to talk about the incident team. Now, the incident team is a group of individuals that are like your Marvel heroes within the group. So we're going to say we're at a large event. You have an assistant event coordinator, volunteer coordinator, a couple of stage managers, press guy, and you as the event coordinator. Got a couple of staff members. You might even have some EMTs that you've hired for your event, but let's just say you don't for the moment. What you do have in the middle of this group, despite all the delegations that you've made, is an incident team. As soon as the term somebody's hurt, something's been stolen, something's fallen over, the stage is on fire, or alien spacecraft showed up again, your incident team should go into motion. And your incident team should know where they're going. Now, I come from a high security background. So I've managed security at hospitals, at concerts with over 20,000 people, and on military bases. And the one thing I can tell you is, you do not want to screw this up. You want to make sure that you can get instructions to any outside agency. What do I mean by outside agency? These are the phone numbers that your incident team commander should have in their phone, other than 911. Poison Control, Highway Patrol, and the FBI. Now, 911 is going to take care of most everything. Poison Control can help you out on the rest of it. And if a child gets kidnapped, your second phone call should be to the FBI. That's right. That's why you have those numbers. Now, you have those numbers. Let's get some people involved. So you're going to take a responder. This is your incident team leader who's going to go to the incident. They're going to get there with a working phone or a working radio or both and report to the event manager what happened. So they're going to go there and they're going to see that little Joey has fallen down and broken his arm. And they're going to report to the event manager, hey, this is what happened. And then the next thing they're going to do, and there's not going to be a big conversation about it, all he's going to say is, little Joey broke his arm. I'm calling 911. Okay, so you call 911. If you have EMTs on site, you call them. Let's say you don't, so you call 911. Now, maybe there's a doctor around, maybe there's a nurse around, maybe there's a mom around, and maybe, just maybe, you were smart enough to have a first aid kit near each stage, which I highly recommend. But some people get worried, Good Samaritan laws, about using first aid kits, and I don't blame you. But let's just say you had one. The next person that you're seeing should be bringing the first aid kit to that scene. Get it? So a stage manager, let's say, or an assistant stage manager, or a permanent volunteer, a member of your incident team, should be bringing the first aid kit on his way to the location where your team leader has just called 911. Now, another person in that team should be headed for the meeting place. And that meeting place is where the ambulance or fire truck will enter the facility or meet at the edge of the facility. And what's their job? To get those responders to the incident. And then lastly, but not leastly, your press person, your event manager, or someone higher up in the food chain should be headed for the incident. And what they should have with them is a notebook with a pen and paper. Not their phone. They can bring their phone and they can take pictures, but the important thing is to write down what time it happened, when it happened, see if you can find a couple of witnesses, and do crowd control. Because when somebody gets hurt, I guarantee you 35 to 45 people are going to get in there and go, I can help you with this. And even if you think they can help you with it, they're not members of your incident team, and what you need to do is create space. What you don't want to do is get anything out of hand. You want to create space to people to work. You want to use your traffic plan to get the ambulance to the person that got hurt, and you want to be able to get them out of there again. That is the job of your incident team. And a lot of people just don't think about it because they think, nothing's going to happen. Well, let's talk about that. Comic-Con this year in Sacramento is going to be a Cal Expo in 100-degree heat. And people are going to be in costume. It's not going to be wintertime, it's going to be summertime. They're not going to be in that lovely air-conditioned building downtown. It's being renovated. They're going to be outside. What do you have to worry about? Heat stroke, heat exhaustion. You have to worry about heart attacks. You have to worry about all sorts of stuff. People getting skinned, people getting hurt. It's a long ways between that gate and that building over there. So you need an incident team. Or if you're doing a fire festival where you have a bunch of people spinning fire, I think you probably need an incident team. And you need to make sure that everybody that's participating is sober. Because if something happens, what don't you want to hear? Well, he was off getting a beer. Or he was drunk. Or, my favorite one, well, he's just a little high. People that respond to emergencies, no offense, I'm not judging, but in my book, they shouldn't be just a little high. They should be ready to help out. And that's part of your incident team requirement. I will never stop answering questions when it comes to safety, security, fire, making sure there's enough extinguishers, making sure there's enough first aid kits, making sure you know where your EMTs are. You should know, as an event coordinator, you should know the name of your EMTs if they're on site. If you have 6 pairs, then you should know if they're called Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, and Foxtrot. And you should have a pretty good idea of where they're going to hang out. If they're all going to be roving, do you think you all want them roving next to one stage? You might have a big facility like a football stadium. Do you think all the EMTs just kind of hang out here? No, they're here, they're here, they're here, they're here, they're here. So as with an incident, they're a couple minutes away from when somebody can get hurt. You know, I just can't stress this enough. And it's part of your staffing requirements that you should have one. Because when all's said and done, after little Joey's been placed in the ambulance with his arm all wrapped up and his mom stopped crying and everything's done, she's going to look at you and go, thank you. Thank you for doing everything you could to help my kid. Thank you for having a radio. Thank you for having a phone. And if she doesn't say thank you, here's what I say. Pretend she did. Feel good about yourself. Know that the show went on, the event's not going to go on, and you're not going to have to worry about something. We have seen too many things in our lives lately where there's no excuse not to be prepared for emergencies with an incident team. Okay, so we talked about what a vendor is. We talked about what talent is, right? So we know what they are, anybody that performs, and we know what a volunteer is. A volunteer is anybody that shows up to help out. And the only thing that we want to do with them is to make sure, the only thing we want to do with them is to thank them for being there. Now, here's something that's going to be really hard to do for a lot of coordinators, a lot of managers, a lot of staffers that have people underneath them that aren't grateful. See, most people who volunteer for the perks. They volunteer to get in for free. They volunteer to get close to people. Some people volunteer to learn something. That's what we call like a regional occupation program. They learn event management skills. Some people just aren't grateful. And that might be you as a manager, or it might be them, even as a volunteer. They might have worked the whole day, and you go up and you say, hey, thanks for helping out. And they're like, yeah, whatever. No matter what happens, you have to thank them. You have to be grateful as an event coordinator. You have to be grateful as a stage manager. You have to be helpful. You can be harsh on people, but you have to be helpful with people. You have to say, geez, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks a bunch. Can you watch this door for me? Here's your chair right here. If you need a bottle of water, it's right over there. If you have a problem, you pick up the radio on the back of that chair and you call me on channel 2, right? And here's the radio. It's on channel 2. Have you ever used a radio before? Okay, push to talk, right? Just be good, be gracious, and be grateful, because if it's a 3-day event and the shifts are 3 hours each or 4 hours each, you're going to do this like 12 or 15 times. And if somebody walks up to you and asks you that question, we've talked about this before, you have to treat it like it's the first time you ever heard it, because if you sit there and go, oh, another one, that's your job. I cannot stress this enough. It's your job to talk to 25 people. It's your job to talk to 1,000 people. I used to work this thing called WebTech, where 80,000 visitors came over a 3-day period to Chicago at the McCormick Center, and I was one of 2,100 vendor booths. Just people walking down the aisle all day long, and every one of them, I had to be, hi, how are you doing today? Hi, how are you doing today? I would shake like 500 to 600 hands every day. I didn't care, because I knew that one out of those 500 was going to buy $10 million worth of equipment from me, and my commission on that was going to be a little less than 100K, and I was really happy to have it. It was my whole reason for being. Your whole reason for being as a coordinator is to coordinate, is to communicate, is to make your event work. And you can't do it without their help, because you can't afford to pay enough people. So you have to use the volunteers. Be gracious. Be grateful. Show good manners. Good manners aren't a way of saying, I'm better than you. No. Good manners are a way of making people feel comfortable, making them feel secure. You may not be able to get their gender pronoun right every time in the state of California, but you can at least try to get close and give it a shot. If they're wearing a name tag, just use their name. Hi, Lisa. It's great to see you. You're going to be at my door? Awesome. Do you have any questions? Cool, you don't. You know how to use the radio? See you, bye. It's not that difficult to work with volunteers. All you got to do is treat them nice. And you have to be nice. And leave. Please understand this. Leave the swear words at home. Leave the politics at home. Try not to get into these I don't like things. There's things I don't like. It's just the way it is. I like bands, I don't like computerized music that much. But that doesn't mean I won't go to a computerized music event, film it, and have a great time. It just means that if I had my choice between one or the other, I'd do a band. But when I'm working for somebody, I don't care if it's opera. They're paying me to be nice. They're paying me to respect their equipment and respect their talent. And when you're working with volunteers, it's the same way. They're coming up, treat them like a little bit of talent, respect them, and be nice.